he openly spoke about it, that the first nation which will become communist is United States. How wrong is he? Mr. Sanders is trying, but you know the great experiment, Karl Marx. I don't know how many of you are exposed to him because those of you who come from the West, he is a devil. In India, at one time, everybody was reading Marx, not anymore. They only read comic books these days. So Marx is a very compassionate human being. He thought, if you bring communism in its purest form, not the way it is today, that means everybody lives according to their needs and fantastic life. This can only happen when human beings have great regard, respect and love for each other. But he thought he could do it politically, and what a mess. What a mess. Because wherever they try to bring communism, in major ways, the number of people who died because of this is unbelievable. In the 20th century, over 100 million people have died for this one ideology. But this is for the people. This whole ideology is about the people, the significance of common people. Over 100 million people, they can't be kings, there were no 100 million kings. Ordinary people who died, 100 million people. So, this is because a great idea, you try to implement it from the wrong end, it's a disaster. This can be done in so many ways, but today, why communism failed is because Marx might have known so much about the economy and stuff, but he failed to understand human nature. He genuinely believed, he openly spoke about it, that the first nation which will become communist is United States. How wrong is he? Mr. Sanders is trying, but that's not going to happen. He thought the wealthiest nations in the world will become communist and then they will share with everybody and we will create a wonderful world. Great idea. But always the poorest of the poor became communist in the world. Even today, it is always the poorest of the poor who are communist. What this essentially means is, those who have something do not want to share. Those who don't have anything want to share. So in the end, instead of becoming a great romantic philosophy, it just becomes an ideological robbery. So, you have wealth, I have nothing, I will talk about sharing. You know from where the sharing will happen. You don't agree, we'll take your head off and share it among ourselves. This becomes ideological robbery. Ultimately, unfortunately, that's how it ended up. What was a great philosophy, at that time, every thinking person in the world was so excited about communism. They thought this is the greatest ideology, the world will change. But just the reverse happened, because those who have don't want to share, those who don't have want to share. Terrible idea it became. So, this happened. I never told you about Shankaran Pillai's childhood, did I? No. When Shankaran Pillai was a 12-year-old boy, one day he went out and he brought a 100 rupee note. Those days, 100 rupees is lots of money. and he brought a 100-rupee note and he said he found it on the street. His mother looked at him and said, "Did you really find it on the street?" She's just checking if the boy stole the money or something. He said, "No, Ma, I definitely found it. It was on the street. I even saw that man looking for it."